Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. In this episode, I'll be showing another revision of the NewGen LAN. The particular use case is targeted for those who have a single gateway and a single switch installation. And depending on several factors, the impact can be good or really awesome. At worst, you're making good use of those unused gateway ports. I will cover multi-switch setup in future episodes. Just to be clear, the current design works great for many general home use cases for LAN and internet connectivity. So this is the revised NewGen LAN version 2023.1001. As can be seen from this particular design, I have removed that redundant uplink. So this one. And I have added multiple VLAN uplinks as represented by these multiple colors in here. So just to clarify, I have a note here, admin VLAN 1 can be redundant and all gateways interfaces have VLAN 1. So admin VLAN, this particular black line can still be redundant. But for the purpose of this video and for the purpose of using ER605, we will not have enough uplinks for a redundant VLAN 1. So let me go back to this old design. To better understand the benefit of the design, I'm going to share this typical scenario for this particular use cases of the previous design. So imagine having a PC, transferring files or copying files to your NAS or to your file server which is located in a different VLAN. Then another user which is in another VLAN is accessing the internet and maybe they're doing streaming HD contents and watching a lot of videos. Then you will have another user uploading videos to the TikTok servers. And then you have another user which is using their laptop to download huge file size installer for their game. These traffic are often heavy and requires huge payload. All of this traffic, both those accessing the internet and those traversing different VLANs, will all use this single interface for all those traffic. So this one, if it's going to access the NAS, since it's there on a different VLAN, will go here. This one is going to the internet, it will go to that single VLAN and it will go there. Same thing for TikTok users and same thing for your gaming players in here. And of course, all the other VLANs will always use this single uplink for all their activities. So the benefits of this particular new design is clear. It opens up more pathways for data to flow rather than being constrained to the router on stick. So you can see here for this particular design, for the purpose of configurations, I have grouped the VLAN memberships into 3. So you can see here home, guest, and IoT is grouped into one trunk. Camera, isolated and secluded, is also a member of one trunk. And then the AT&T, Xfinity, and Cycle is also a member of another trunk. The way VLAN memberships is assigned to a trunk is based on your particular network design. For the purpose of this particular video, I have grouped them together this way. So I do have some notes in here on how many trunks can be created based on the number of ports. So I have here in my network diagram the maximum number of trunks that each gateway can have. So for example, ER605 can have 3 trunks, ER7306 can have 4 trunks, and ER707 can have 5 trunks, and ER8411 can have 12 trunks. This is assuming it's dual one. So just a note here again, all gateway interfaces will always have VLAN 1. This is not something that can be removed from the gateways. And if we're not using dual one capability, then that means one more trunk will be available, so making it 4, 5, 6, and 13. But if using dedicated management VLAN, then one less trunk is available. So before we head on to the configuration, I just want to ask for your help. YouTube's algorithm doesn't seem to like my videos, and if you have some time or willing to help, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you will always be notified whenever I upload a new video. As always, subscription is free. For those who have already subscribed, thank you very much. So for this video, for this episode, I will be using ER605 and SG3428 for demonstration purposes. I don't have any wireless access points in here. It will not be relevant for this particular episode. However, what I would like to discuss is that the setup for this side is a duplicate of the outer LAN, which represents this whole VLAN and all of these ACLs. So let's just quickly go through the networks. So the networks will be, for the LAN, you can see here all the numbers of the VLANs here are added with 100. So instead of 192.168.1, it's 101. Instead of 192.168.10, it's 110. So again, that's to represent these VLANs in here: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. All of them have an additional 100 to differentiate them so that I can route to the controller, because the controller is already using the 192.168.1 network. So I need to be able to route my data to this particular controller so that I can demonstrate without any additional issues or configuration that I will need to do. Okay, so but all the ACLs and all the network names should be the same. So this one, it's it. So let me just go to the outer LAN. So if you go to the outer LAN, that's an exact replica of all the number of VLANs that I have. Okay, so still loading. So as you can see here, 1, 10, 20 up to the 90, and 10, 20 up to the 90. Okay, and I will have these devices in here. So let's go back to my demonstration site. So the idea for using an end-of-life product like this OG ER605 version 1 is because if I can configure all of this using this device, then it means that the newer gateways such as ER605 version 2, ER7206, ER707, and ER8411 can support it. And the idea to use the SG3428 is because the SG2210MP is already full. So this is the SG3428 and this is the ER605, and currently there is one uplink to the SG3428. Let me open up a DOS console one. There you go. Ping T is a batch file that do continuous ping to google.com. And let's check this one. Let's check my IP. I should be in the 101 VLAN. Okay, so port 23, and if I go here, that's port 23. It's in profile all, and port 1 is the uplink. That's how the lab is set up. Let me just show the other ACLs as well. Network security. So you will see that all the gateway ACLs are in place. The switch ACLs are in place. I do have the EAP ACL, but it's just one. Even on the outer LAN, it's the same ACL. These ACLs are adapted and adjusted for this site's network. So let's start with the actual configurations of having this setup. You might notice some difference with the audio quality and the time on my computer. It's because this is the configuration part of the video. I decided to do it much later on because I ran out of time the last time I was doing the recording. Anyway, so one thing that has changed from then to now, I decided to add an access point. I got this as a warranty replacement from TPLINK, so they sent me a brand new one. But this is an old model EAP235. So having said that, let me just continue with the configuration. So let me go to the console. As I mentioned, I did add the EAP. Oh, it's 225, not 235. It's EAP225. It's quite old, but I have already updated the firmware so that it shouldn't cause any issue. Let me just show my notes in here on how I plan to go about this particular design. First, we have to go plan our groupings of VLAN. Basically, it just tells us, or just gives us an idea of, before you go create a trunk, plan the VLAN memberships of each trunk. We have already done that with this diagram. You can see here, I have grouped all those necessary VLAN memberships per trunk. Second one will be configure the gateway interfaces. This time around, the difference will be that instead of having VLAN ones for all the gateway interfaces for PBIDs, they will have their own specific different PBIDs. I will also create layer 2 only VLANs, meaning it's not an interface, it's a VLAN, and I'll show that to you once I do the configuration. Then I need to create new trunk profiles, again referring to these three groups. And then I need to create an all new all trunk profile. So if I'm looking at this design, you can see there is a teeny weeny cable in here, a cable uplink, which is the admin VLANs. I'll proceed with that one first. Just to give you an overview of what's happening here, what's connected in here. The port 11 is where my current access point is connected, and then port 23 will be my PC, and port 28 is just this cable DAC uplink memo. So I will have to change this port 1 into a admin only uplink. There you go, 101, VLAN 101, and that shouldn't cause me any issue. I'm going to do a ping T. This is just a batch file that do continuous ping to Google. So you can see I have already changed it here, and I'm still connected. So before I create new network step, I just want to show you some things about the ER605 and how their ports are currently configured. Okay, so if I go here, ports, you will see that usually you will have all the VLANs defined on each gateway interfaces. Okay, you can see here one LAN 2, and then one LAN 3. All the gateway interfaces are defined, and they all have PVID1 by default. Okay, you cannot remove PVID1, but you can change the PVIDs. Having said that, we need to create new networks. We need to create 3 trunks, so we need to create 3 networks. We need to prepare the trunks, basically. So in order for me to prepare the trunks, I need to create networks that will not be in conflict with the admin VLAN. Okay, so LAN, let's create new LAN, and just for the sake of difference naming, and I'll call it 901 VLAN. And this one is what I mentioned earlier, it's just VLAN only. It's not an interface, it's VLAN, and it's VLAN 901. And then I need to click save. So that's the first one. We need to create 3. You need to create this number of layer 2 VLAN only interfaces based on the amount of new trunks that you would like to create, so that it doesn't have to be in conflict with your VLAN 1. It should be in here now, 901. So let's create another one, 902 VLAN. It's the same thing, it's just VLAN only, gateways and switches, and then click save. And we need to create the final one, 903 VLAN, VLAN only, 903, and then click save. Now I need to create the trunks with its membership. So go to profile, you will see all the profiles in here based on your currently existing network, plus the TP-Links all and TP-Links disable. These are TP-Links system profiles. So I need to create 3 trunk profiles. So I need to create the 901 trunk, and this is where I'm going to use those new layer 2 only VLANs, and I need to select 110, 120, and 190. Remove this one. So advanced options, to be safe, select loopback detection port based. So that's the first one. Click save. Same thing, we need to create total number of trunks based on the number of trunks that we define. So that's 3, created 1, so we need 2 more. So 902 trunk. Then this one, you need to create the 902 VLAN. And this one should be 130, 140, 150. Remove this one. Same thing here. Loopback detection, port based. Click save, and we need to create the 903 trunk. Trunk. Okay. 903 VLAN as the native network. This one will be 160, 170, 180. Remove this one and loop back detection, then click save. So now that we have created those, we have to make sure that our networks, our gateway interfaces are only dedicated to those VLAN memberships for the trunk. So let's do my editing now of the networks. So 110. So the one LAN 2 will be where I would like to define. So the 110, 120, and 190, I'd like to define it in this particular gateway interface. The 130, 140, and 150 will be on this gateway interface. 160, 170, 180 will be on this gateway interface. So each of them will have trunk uplinks to the switch. Let's do that. Click save. I'll first do this. Okay, save. And then I remember I don't want to forget 190. Should be like that. Okay, click save. Then 130 will be on the second port on the one LAN 3. 140 on the one LAN 3 as well. And then 150 will be on the one LAN 3 as well. Then 160 will be on the LAN port. Same thing for the 170. And last but not the least, the 180 will be on the LAN port as well. So if you have not seen my previous episodes regarding this PVIDs and configuration about this, basically I'm limiting the number of VLANs per gateway interfaces. So if we go back here, let's look at ER605 and let's look at this particular uplink, this particular port. Okay, so port, that is one LAN 1. If I click edit, the PVIDs that will be available will be just 901, 902, and 903. So that's good. And the next one will be one LAN 2. You can see here we will have 110, 120, and 190 along with the 3 new VLANs that we created. Same thing for the one LAN 3. 130, 140, 150 plus the 3. And then for the LAN will be 160, 170, 180, and 901, 902, and 903. Let's do some testing in here. This one is my current port. Let me first do VLAN 101. So this shouldn't be an issue. Click apply. And you can see I'm on VLAN 101. If I go here, I'm in 101, 103, and that should be okay. And you can see still I'm pinging. Before I continue this one, just want to clarify that I made my ACLs be able to work from all the VLANs in here so that it will limit the amount of me switching network. So having said that, if I go to 110, then I should have an issue because there is no more VLAN 110 flowing to this cable. Okay. So if I click apply, then you will see some errors in here. So even if I disable and enable this, I will not be able to access it. So the only way for me to access it is to actually go to a different port, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to port 24, I believe. My PC is struggling, but it shows that I'm replying. As you can see, it's still identifying, but it shows I'm replying in here. That means I should be good, and I should get the 101 IP. There you go. And then if I refresh this one, now it shows 24. Okay, so let's go to ports. Now we're going to enable the VLAN 110 to have an uplink. So you can see here 110 is here, but there is no uplink to VLAN 110 because the interface is not yet up. So let me do that. So SG3428, click ports. So I'm going to uplink port 3 to the next interface wherein I have defined VLAN 110, 120, and 190. So that will be this one, port 3. Port 2, I don't want to put my cable in there. I just want to use all the top ones. It's easier to plug the cables. Okay, so port 3 will be (901) trunk. 901 trunk. And I will have to configure my ER605 ports. So that will be this port, and I will have to configure 901 in here. There you go, click apply. There you go. To get it fully up and running, I need to, of course, put some cable into it. Okay, so this one, there you go. This one goes here. There you go. So I have VLAN 1, VLAN 901, VLAN 110, VLAN 120, and VLAN 190 coursing through here. Okay, so that means that the switch will now have VLAN 110. So if I go back to SG3428, I see that the port 3 is already up. I don't see any loops or errors from the switch. Good. So now, okay, so if I go here, port, in this particular port, okay, I'm going to transfer my cable here in this particular port. Let me just go back there, and let's go click here. So right now, I'm back to VLAN 101. I'm going to VLAN 110. So now, I'm removing the cable here, okay, and putting it here. So I should be able to get the VLAN 110 now. Earlier we're not able to do that, but now I should be able to. There you go. So success, and this one should have the IP from VLAN 110. There you go, VLAN 110. Now let's do VLAN 120. Okay, as soon as I change this one, so let me refresh this, so because it still shows port 23 as not being used. So let me refresh this. There you go, 110. Okay, and 110 is here. So now it shows port 23 and 110. Now I'm going to change this into VLAN 120. Let me do that like that. Okay, so I will get disconnected as soon as I click apply here. I will get disconnected because my IP will still be in 110, but my physical port will be in profile 120, and I don't have a 120 IP. So this one will disconnect, and this one will show connected but without any IP. So let's click on apply. Okay, so I didn't see any success here, but I'm thinking it took effect. As you can see here, request timeout, and you can see here there's nothing in here. It will take for Windows some time before it detects that there is no internet. So I will not wait for that. What I'm going to do is disable this and then enable, so that I will get a new IP. So we're looking at that one here. So come on PC, you can do it. My PC is struggling, but should be okay, hopefully. Come on, there you go. There you go. So I should have a 120 IP. And the last network that I have defined for this particular trunk on port number 3 is VLAN 190. So we'll test VLAN 190 in here. Same thing, I'll click apply. It says succeeded. I will get disconnected here because my IP is still in the VLAN 120. And I will disable, and then I will enable to get a new IP. And it says here that I already have a new IP. Everything is so slow now, but I'm just letting you know that I'm clicking. It's just so slow. So VLAN 190, there you go. And you can see the reply in here. Let's see here. It's taking all the power and energy of this PC just to display. But now it does show 190. Now if I select here 130, I will not get a new IP because the 130 is not yet defined. So let's just, for the sake of example, let's do just that. 130. Camera. So I'll click apply. So VLAN 130 has an ACL applied to it, so it will not be able to ping the internet. I will not get any IP because the 130 is not yet up. So what I can do though is show you how to define that new trunk on another port. So let me use a different port here. So I used port 19. See here, port, let me refresh. So port 23 is now VLAN 130, but I don't have any VLAN 130 defined yet because VLAN 130 is currently defined here. 130, 140 and 150 is defined in this particular interface, so that's why I cannot get any IP yet. Okay, so now I'm going to configure port number 5 to get that uplink going. So that will be 902 trunk. Then I need to configure the ER605. Okay, click port. And that will be on the LAN 3. Okay, that will be on the 902. VVID, click apply. And let me go back here. Click ports. Now I just need to have a cable uplink. Go. Okay. So let me refresh that. There you go. You can see here that I have the 902 trunk going, 901 trunk, 902 trunk. So therefore I can use this one, but again I will not be able to have access to the internet. I will just have a new IP, but no access to the internet. So let me remove this cable. Okay, this cable, and I'm now connecting to this one. I will also have no access to console because camera VLAN is restricted only to their own network, meaning it can only reach devices within its own VLAN, so VLAN 130. So let's check if it got the VLAN 130 IP. There you go, 130.100. I can only ping 130.1 for testing purposes, but as you can see, it doesn't have access to the internet. Okay, that's why I have this one. And there you go. I can ping the gateway, at least. So now, but I need to go back here to be able to configure the next port, which is port 140. Okay. 140. Click apply. Okay. Now that I'm in port 140, I just need to transfer the cable again, this one, and move it here. There you go. then my PC should have a 140 IP, and I should be able to get access to the internet. There you go. My IP should be 140. There you go. Now let's do 150. This time around, I will just need to disable my NIC. I don't have to remove the cable anymore. Click apply. It should get disconnected. I should disable and enable, and I should get a VLAN 150. IP address here, so still waiting. Okay, so I can see it's now a little bit slow. Come on, PC, you can do it. There you go. Details. VLAN 150 here, and then the last VLAN defined for this particular trunk is 150. So I will not do the 160 yet until I configured another trunk, so that I don't have to keep changing cables again. So let's configure the uplink for the VLAN 160. Click ports. So we have defined 901 here, 902 here, and we're going to define 903 trunk in here on port number 7. I'll define that as 903 trunk. Click apply. You can see here 903, 902, 901. Okay, now we have to configure the gateway. So ports, that will be the LAN port here, and that will be in the 903. Then click apply. There you go. So now we just need to add a cable. So that will bring all the VLAN uplinks here. Then the next step will be to test and then create a new trunk profile for all, so that we can start uplinking all our devices. So I need to click that one. There you go. Okay, so port 7 will be up. That means I have VLAN 160, 170, and 180 on this network now. So let me go to VLAN 160. Let me do that screen. 160. Click apply. Then I need to disable enable. Let me just want to show you the request timeout. There you go. Disable, enable. Come on, come on. There you go. I see a reply, so I should be good. Details. I got the 160. So let me refresh this one, and port 23 will be 160. Okay, I will do that again. 170, click apply. Okay, now click disable here. Now that I see the request timeout, then click enable. So 170. And finally VLAN 180. This will be the final test for the wired VLAN, and we'll quickly jump into the all profile and then the wireless testing. Disable, enable. So that's the last one. So we have successfully brought up all the trunk ports without any errors from the switch nor from the router. We never got any error notification. So the only challenge with this approach, by creating those new 901, 902, 903 layer 2 only VLANs, the old profile is kinda iffy because it will now contain all those VLAN which doesn't go anywhere at all. So if you use that as your typical uplink for your Omada, then it can cause an issue. So that's the reason why we need to create a new trunk profiles that have all your relevant VLANs in the membership. So how to do that? Let's just go here, our networks, and then LAN, and then let's just create something called all new, something like that. Okay, you still keep the 101 as your native VLAN, but however, for your tag networks, you need to select all your VLANs except the 903, 902, and 901. You don't have to necessarily enable any loopback detection here, but you can. I don't see any issue if you enable that. But what's gonna happen is that you're going to use that new profile. Where's that? Oh, new, this one, to replace the old profile. Every time you're going to use the old profile for your connecting one network device to another, you have to use the old new if you would like to have all of your VLAN memberships to flow to the network, to the next network device without any issue. So let's do just that. I'll show you. So the SG3428, like I said, have it at 411. So instead of all, you have to select all new, and this one is for my access point. This for my access point. So if I would like to test my access point, let's try again. So let me disable my wired networks. So I will have error here, you can see here. So let's try my wireless networks. Let's try the admin first. We should get a 101 IP address. Oh, this one's gonna take a long time. You can see here, it's west. It applies, and you can see that my IP is 101.102. Okay, so let's do. So that's the admin VLAN. Let's do 110. There you go, 110. And then if I check my IP, it's 110. And let's do 120. There's 120. Yeah, I can see the reply. It should be okay. 120, I should get the 120 IP. And 130, again, this one doesn't have any internet, and it can only ping the gateway. Okay. There you go. There you go. I don't have any 140. 140 is an isolated VLAN. This is wired only, and it's the wireless equivalent for the guest network, but only for the wired. So the next one will be wireless 150. Okay, come on. There you go. 150 works now. And I should get the 150 IP here. Okay, 150. And then I should get 160. 160. There you go, 160. 160. And I'll have 170. go, 170. Okay, 2 more VLANs. Almost there. 180. There you go, 180. And last but not the least, 190. So this one should be okay because this is part of the trunk 110 and 120. So if that one works, then 190 should work. There you go, 190. 190. Okay, so we have tested all the wired connectivity, all the wireless LANs, all the VLANs. So I think that's pretty much it. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you don't like this video, please give it a dislike. I don't think I have seen any configuration like this. I haven't seen anything similar to this in any of the Omada coverage. So I hope you can help me by liking this video if you think this one is interesting, if you think this one is useful for you. So if you think it helps you, consider subscribing to my channel because my goal is to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And for those who have subscribed to me already, thank you very much. So I think that's it for now. Thank you again for watching my video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you and bye bye.